Hello there and welcome. This video will be going over your feedback to Relic with regards to the announcement for the North African campaign for Company of Heroes 3. As you know, I've been vocal in my criticism, and I like to take a step back and reflect to see if I actually 100% still think what I was feeling upon the release of the North African campaign mission. And also I've gone over a lot of your guys' feedback. As you can see in the bottom left of the screen, I've got 5 sections I want to go over. I'm going to be talking about the DLC pre-order bonuses. You've got the trailer, performance issues, the art style, and then I'm going to do UI Revisited, because I've already done a 20-minute video on that. I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes, so feel free to test me on that. And without further ado, let's get going with the DLC offering for the pre-orders, which is based on the Devil's Brigade. Who are these guys? The first Special Service Force, USA and Canada. They've got this red dagger thing going on. And people reacted unfavorably, said it looks stupid, they look like clowns, it's hideous. And obviously negative people tend to speak up, but on Reddit it is a meritocracy of opinion because people upvote, so you could argue that the unspoken majority have a chance to vote on what they do or don't agree with. So I'm going to half agree and then offer a defense. I think the problem is this guy in the center. I think he looks like a Call of Duty skin. He's got like a Mexican death face mask, which has been seen on a lot of Call of Duty marketing in the last 10 years. That kind of similar skull-like appearance. But the historical authenticity of actually wearing face paint is something that existed, especially for the Filthy 13, who, as you can see in the picture here, and we'll go through those pictures. Now, that's the pictures there. They did wear Native American face paint into battle, and they looked really cool doing it. They also donned Mohicans. So I think they looked really cool, and you can certainly see that we do have a little bit of that going on here. These guys all have Mohicans, and he certainly has face paint reminiscent of historical precedent. The issue comes with the guy in the center, and the fact that the Devil's Brigade only ever wore night camo. Basically, they blacked their faces out because they're all white dudes on a night raid, so they didn't want to be as visible, which is still something that the military do today, and they suppress it for marketing purposes because it doesn't look good in a modern context. It looks like, it doesn't look good from that context. So, that's what they're doing. You can't really sell that as DLC, so there's my first defense. The actual historical precedent you can't do. You can do something from the Filthy 13, and that's what they have done. However, it's this guy in the center. So I would advise Relic to drop the death face from the kind of Mexican vibe and stick with Native American face paint, because that has a big precedent in film as well. A lot of Native Americans in World War II films. Well, there's a few notable examples, and I just feel like it's a cool homage, but that isn't. So yeah, a bit of a defense there, but also a bit of constructive criticism on how it could be improved. Next, the trailer. Now, the trailer, if we could see the dislike bar, I would imagine is probably half and half, because it is a juxtaposition to what one would expect. What we're going to be doing for this trailer is we're going to go through it at 2x speed, and I have watched it about 10 times as research for this video because I was just so confused at first, but I kind of got a better idea of how it's meant to work, and this is the storyboard for it, and I'll do it in the style of a parody. There's a map. No, it's fabric. It's a lady. She's in a market. She's buying the fabric off a lovely merchant. Smells like home. Yes, home. Home is where the heart is. Home is where ominous horizons fade to black as we see something in the distance, in the dunes. What could it be? Defensive posture, look into the horizon as dust is picked up by a convoy of tanks and infantry, and the British are there on the horizon. Oh my god, they're going to fight each other. Goes to slow motion as the horror of war unfolds. Clench the fabric in a kind of homely sense, like grip onto what you've got. Things explode, you sprint seemingly towards the combat. No, away from it. The shell shock throws you to the floor. Shells slam into the side of a tank. Planes roar overhead. The roaring of the plane. The fabric goes away. Oh, all is lost. A Flak 88's cool. More dust picks up. The chaos of war. The maelstrom of mayhem. But what is that? Tanks. No. It's home. I can see home. I must get to home. I must run to home. Finally found the right direction because of the chaos of war. And, oh God, it's a tank. I lie down in desperation. There is no hope for me now. The tank, I do not want you. I'm here for the British. It's okay. Oh, fine. And my fabric. Great. Maybe I can clutch onto what I still have and I can find home. Tired and weary, and oh, what is left of home? Not much. Planes are cool! That is the every battle tells a story narrative. And I can kind of see what they were going for. Problems they've come up against with that storyboard are threefold. Firstly, execution. It's very difficult for a game studio to outsource a trailer of such complexity and get perfect results. And I would say that on a storyboard in a meeting room, it probably sounded way cooler than it ended up being. Because quite frankly, it's difficult to make this work. It's not going to work the first time. And yeah, I could point out a few moments in the trailer that are a little bit cheesy, and I'll point out the most obvious one now. We'll go down to quarter speed for this. Sprinting animation, good. Shell, very far in the distance. No sign of a shockwave, but she throws herself to the ground. Clutching the fabric, gets into the fetal position. It's just cheesy. And I believe that the human mind kind of perceives this cheesiness and stores it in the back of your mind. So if something doesn't look right, it doesn't sit well. And that shapes your perception. So I would say that they were too ambitious with this trailer. They could have kept it way simpler than it ended up being, and that's a problem. The other problem is sexism. And it's not Relic's fault, and it's not the audience's fault. It's Battlefield's fault, and it's other games' fault for shoehorning female protagonists into games unapologetically and being a little bit combative with their audiences. I feel, for example, the Battlefield fiasco, where it was actually people had a problem with historical authenticity. They probably had a little bit of sexism in the back of their mind, but it was kind of seen as though the game studios, DICE in this case, their CEO in particular, were like pushing for a political narrative. They were overbalancing the historically male-dominated FPS market, and in this case, 99% of RTS fans are men, so you will get a good portion of people that feel uncomfortable when challenged with strong female characters, but that's not actually going on here. This is not, that's not happening. This is a civilian. And I don't really feel that was a problem. I think in the first 20 seconds, it's like more a case of, why is this a Company Heroes? It doesn't look like Company Heroes. Where are the battles? Where is the awesomeness? Where is the thrill of war? And I can kind of get that, to be honest. I kind of see that, yeah, it doesn't really do that. It doesn't do what you would expect. And for that juxtaposition, it carries a cost with the audience, because the audience is just left kind of confused. And I think that's more of the problem. It's kind of confusion. And the third problem is they overcomplicated it, and it could have been so simple. They could have done a better job. They could have sold more pre-orders. They could have done an easier and better job. And for example, I mean, I'll put a quick storyboard together here, just what I've been clicking at in the background. Okay, simple, really simple. You start with the exact same stuff, not in half-time speed. I'll just flick through it. You start with the same stuff up to that point. So you show this lady in her natural setting in this theatre, and you show like life is good. But then something in the horizon comes, and her narrative kicks up kind of like a Lord of the Rings kind of vibe as she talks about how the tanks came and how they shaped the terrain, how they fought in beautiful towns and destroyed them, in El Alamein on the fields, in the trenches, and ultimately life as the people of North Africa knew it changed and was never the same again. But you could put literally maybe 50% of the game could be really cool slices of a battle, of the trailer could be really cool slices of a battle, and less corny running animations chasing fabric. It's the middle section that didn't hit the mark. So yeah, there's a few defenses there. I feel like I can see what they were going for. I don't think it was political in any sense of the word. I just feel it's other games that make fans be overly defensive. And to be honest, it's not a bad trailer. It's just not the right trailer, and it could have been so much better if they'd concentrated on what fans expect to see. Hopefully we get more of that in the future. Next, we have performance. And as you guys know, Company of Heroes 3 for me is not running well at all. I have a brand new computer. I'm getting 5 FPS in the cinematics, and it really isn't working for me. It's an absolute mess, quite frankly. It's I could probably just sit here and play songs whilst it goes on. It's 3 FPS. My life's a mess. Not quite what I expected when I spent all of my money on a brand new PC. Yeah, it's not great. But I have had some good words from people like Tightrope. They have spoken about legends such as, if we go back over to Google Chrome, resizable bar support. Apparently this can add up to 50% performance improvement in Company of Heroes already. I can't quite get it working on my MSI motherboard at this point in time, but I'm not going to stop trying to get it working. There are also settings that can really help. For example, if you disable pan smoothing, apparently that adds a good 5 to 10% improvement as well. So already the community are finding ways to make Company of Heroes run better, which, as you can appreciate, is a good position to be in, because if we can find ways to improve the performance, there's no doubt Relic can as well. So performance shouldn't be as big of a problem as you think. It has certainly gotten worse since the last pre-alpha for me, because I got a new computer. Apparently it's working better on older technology, like a GTX 1080s and the older i7s. I've got brand new hardware, and I don't think it's optimized for that yet. Next is art style, and that's actually shown by someone else that did a really cool post. This guy, to quote him, it's Wilbold von Merkatz. He's talking about the background under 50% grey rule, the zero hierarchy, and I can see what he's on about. I more spoke about how the UI did not blend with the background well, but the background itself is showing terrible hierarchy. It's just too bright. He also goes on to talk about other games and how they do better. There's Overwatch and Company Heroes 1 mods in the desert. Look like they use more orange hues, and it certainly seems to work better at not hurting your eyes, because as we know, this is pretty crazy. I can speak about Company Heroes and how it works, though. There are things such as atmospheric settings in the map maker. You can change a map from night to day. You can change it from tundra to western France. You can do so much with a few tweaks. The Essence engine is set up really well. Like, you can change the angle of the sun in the sky. Everything's at your disposal, and it's certainly at Relic's disposal. It's a few tweaks to make it better, and it'll be a massive improvement. But I suppose the more frustrating element is that Relic weren't able to see how bad it was themselves, which shows that perhaps they need to be a little bit more, get there, actually play the game and test it out themselves, test their own changes and ask themselves, is this pleasant? Is this enjoyable? Am I having a good experience? Because waiting for it to go public possibly isn't the best approach, because of course it reflects badly on them. But I can attest to the fact that it's so simple to fix, and they will be able to fix it really easily. And the last thing on my docket is the UI. we are going to revisit this a little bit, just to show how easy it is to fix. I mean, this guy did a great job. Charco. If we go on to this here, you can see how it looks and how he thinks it could look. He's done it in Photoshop. And we'll just pause it and explain what he's done. He's made the unit icons a lot bigger. He's put the commander wheel down here. He's done what I said in putting the buttons around the circumference of the minimap. And he's made this a way better bar. It doesn't go too far vertically higher, and it just consolidates itself in an aspect of the screen. I personally would prefer the commander wheel stayed up here, and maybe I don't mind the unit icons down there. And my other defense for the UI is not that it can be changed really easily. Look what this guy done. It's that Relic have actually left settings in the interface at the moment, meaning you can change things quite a lot. You can command card right side. You can turn that off. So let me do that now. Save. I have to do it. Oh yeah, it's worked. There we go. So the minimap's now on the right, and all of this stuff's on the left. So it flips it around entirely. Let's just quickly show you the other way around so you can adjust your eyes. From here, you can change it all the way over to here. Now, that shows great customizability. It's not the customizability we need because, as you guys know, it's just janky at the moment and all over the place. The blocks aren't in the right position. There is another setting as well that you might want to see, and that is UI scale, but unfortunately it's not doing what you expect it to right now because it's just changing the text size on the UI. It's not actually changing the box size, which isn't what you want. So maybe in the future they could have minimap scale as a slider and UI scale as a slider. But my one way I would improve it is I would have a multiplayer UI where you can literally expand or contract any of the elements. Like this guy, if you click his face, this whole box here full of information, it contracts. If you click it again, it expands. So if you want to see it, you can. And you could also then toggle everything contracted by default, for example. So even if we don't get a fully customizable UI, I feel that they've clearly shown with toggles how much work could be done. So yeah, there's 5 ways that 5 things people have complained about, how it's not quite as bad as you might feel, and hopefully how we see it change in the future. Thank you for watching. This has been just under 18 minutes, so I am only 80% over in my original goal. But thank you very much for watching, and hope you have a pleasant weekend. Cheers.